Alright, we are going to work with word search, which is hopefully going to help with the Lipogrammer lab that we've done. And what I'm going to hopefully provide is some help on your commenting. Alright, the first thing we did, or the first thing we need, is some text to work with. So I've decided to use the text that the book had and work with that. The first thing we did was use the replace method, and so it should take every letter E and replace it with a pound sign. And so I made a string replaced, and if I compile and run this, you'll notice that every place there had been an E, there is now a pound sign. So that shows part of the end product, and that's simply a text method that you can use. Now, taking out some of my commented symbols here, we are going to assign a position 0 to the integer variable pos. And so we're going to say that pos is equal to text index of E starting at pos, and then that's going to print out that index. And then I'm going to repeat the process because this should make pos 3, and then I want to show why we have to have this increment in there. So recompiling and saving and running, you'll notice it said the first index of E is 3 and the second index of E is 3. So that without the index plus plus, when I put a 3 in here, it still finds that same E. Remember that this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and if we start at 3, it won't go anywhere. So now I'm going to increase so that this should start out pos at 4, and let's see what happens. And so the first index is 3, we start then at 4, and we get the next one at 12, which is the E in paste. So each time you have to increment beyond the E to start finding the next value. All right, now we don't need that at the moment, so we'll take this out, and then we're going to remove this portion. All right, now it says while pos is less than the length of the test, pos is equal to index of E starting at pos, and then it says the next index is, and then we increment. All right, now I've taken all of this out. I better actually X V save. All right, I need pos to start at 0, I'd have some real problems. And so if I now run this, it finds that there is 3, 12, 20, 25, 27, and 50. So it found, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 E's. So that's wonderful. So this is the method, and this is why we have to have the pos plus plus, is so that we work our way through all of that. Now, let's comment this out. We're going to take that out and put it here. Now we're going to take this out and this out, and I want to make sure, whoops, oh, it would help if I hit the right keys. All right, I still have my pos equal to 0. And now down here, what I'm now doing is saying that POS 0 is going to be POS minus 1, and POS 1 will be POS plus 1. And now I'm going to print out the two values so I know where I started from. And now it says while POS 0 is greater than or equal to 0, and character is letter, text character at POS 0. So what this is saying is as long as this value is greater than or equal to 0 and I'm on a letter, that's what the is letter is going to do, then I'm going to decrease. So let's see, well, I can go down, well, no, let's go way up here. So I'm going to find this E, and that was at position 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to move back 1. Whoops, oh, come on. I'm going to move back 1 so that so POS 0 is now 2. And I'm still a letter, and I'm greater than or equal to 0. I'll go back again, and I'll go back again. When I go back one more time, then I will be, the position will be -1. So where are we? This is not greater, this will no longer be greater than or equal to 0, and it won't be a letter. So I will kick out at that point. With POS 1, when I start at 3, this is true that I am less than the length, and this is true because I'm sitting on a letter, and then I increment to 4. This is true, but this is false. Let me show you. He says, here's 3, and everything was true, but when I'm at 4, which is right here, this is not a letter, so that's false, and so I don't increment. So I had incremented to begin with, so this was position 4, and position 4 was definitely less than the length of the text, but it was not a letter, so I don't increment to 5. So let's see, I now say that I'm going to print all that out. Bringing this down so that we can start. This is going to be 0 to begin with, and then we're going to look for the index of E, so this should have been 3. And so when I subtract 1, that'll be 2. When I add 1, it'll be 4. So it starts at 2 and 4. And this is going to move back until it gets to be -1. But since this was not a letter at 4, it doesn't move anywhere. So I've printed this out, and now I return the substring, which is the word type. And that's what this is all about. If I did this all over again, let's see. And we want this at POS 1. So the first time we go through, we move POS back to use POS 0, we use pause forward to use pause 1. This eventually ends up at -1. This stays at 4. And so we end up with the word type, which is the first word in the text with the letter E. And then what I said was, okay, let's try this again. I'm going to now say that POS is the index of E starting at POS 1. And POS 1, if you'll remember, is 4. So I now have POS 0 is pause -1, and POS 1 is POS plus 1. And then we're going to print them both out. And then we're going to loop through again and print everything out again. So starting from -1 and 4, and we then put 4 in. We put 4 in here, effectively, and we get a value for POS, which we turn into POS 0 and POS 1. So that finds 11 and 13, and POS 0 moves back until we find a space this time. So this one becomes false at 7. And strangely enough, POS 1 ends up again at its same place because again the E is at the end of the word and we get paste. So we could continue on with this, or we could put this into a giant loop, which we effectively did in our Lipogrammer analyzer program. So the whole idea here is that by manipulating effectively where we start, moving forward and backward, we can find the beginning of the word with POS 0 and the end of the word with POS 1. All right, so we found this E and we found this E. If we did this one more time, we'd find the E in text. So let's try one more time just for fun. Where are we? We're going to do and there you go. We found text. Notice that the E in text is at 19, or it's actually going to be at 18 because we add 1. And we back it up, and then we move forward from 21 to 23. And so we've now fallen off each end of the word text, and we're all set. So the whole idea is that you can move backwards or forwards to find where there is not a letter, and that will then define our words.